mitochondria. It's none of this. The difference between a living person and a cadaver is the flow energy. Mm-hmm. When you die, all of the structure, the physical stuff remains as is, but energy stops flowing. If you stop breathing, if your heart stops beating, energy flow stops, and then energy transformation, therefore, it can't happen. And then that's what we call death. And then the mind dies, right? Like you don't have an experience anymore. And so the flow of energy, I think, it has to be the basis, not only of...
Most of us were taught that mitochondria are just the powerhouses of the cell, simple batteries that keep the lights on. But Dr. Martin Picard, a professor of behavioral medicine at Columbia University, is proving that they are much more. They are social, intelligent antennas that respond to your thoughts, your stress, and even your sense of purpose. This is Synthesize, where we turn long podcast conversations into their most important ideas. To understand health, we first have to understand what energy actually is. It's not just a calorie count on a label. It is the very definition of being alive.
Who's a biophysicist, energy is the potential for change, right? So, and that applies to any kind of form of energy you can think about. It's the potential for change, for changing something in the system. And that's, I think, an accurate description of, thermal energy. If something is frozen solid, there's no, potential for moving something. We need to be at 37 Celsius, right? The human body. It gives us the potential to move and muscles to contract and, our biology to...
Think of your body as a system of potential. When you feel low energy, it's not that the energy has disappeared. Energy cannot be destroyed. It's that your potential to create change in your own life has stalled. We often imagine mitochondria as identical little beans floating in a soup. In reality, they are social creatures that work together, much like a complex civilization.
Social scientists, classify as social. If you study ants, for example, there's like a few rules that we know ants are social creatures because they form groups, right? And there are different types. They divide, there's division of labor. You have worker ants that, work really hard, and you have warrior ants that are like really chubby and like they're here to defend the hive.
They like to fight.
Yeah, exactly. So those two types of ants, you look at them side by side, there's like this little flimsy, super like active worker ant, and then this like chubby warrior ant. Genetically, they're...
This means your heart mitochondria are warriors, while your liver mitochondria are workers. They specialize based on what you ask of them. Your body isn't a machine. It's a community that adapts to your environment. If mitochondria are more than batteries, what is their actual job? Dr. Picard suggests they are the conductors of your biological symphony, patterning raw fuel into meaningful action.
By patterning in time, right? By patterning electricity. So mitochondria, the way I see them is they're kind of an energy patterning system. And we've called them the mitochondrial information processing system for that reason.
Should we think of them like a little Morse code lever?
I think it's a decent, analogy for, part of their behavior, part of what they do fundamentally.
Imagine a Morse code operator. The electricity is just raw power, but the pattern is the message. Your mitochondria take the electricity from your food and turn it into the messages that tell your genes to stay young or grow old. Perhaps the most shocking evidence that aging is flexible is found in our hair. We've always assumed graying was a one-way street, but the data says otherwise.
Likely both are true, yes.
Okay.
And I think what we discovered is that hair graying, at least temporarily, is reversible. This was surprising because it goes against this notion that aging is a linear, process that just happens over time, no matter what you do. And here we showed, no, actually, a hallmark of aging, which is, depigmentation, losing color in your beard and your hair, is something that happens to almost...
If a single hair can go from gray back to dark because you took a vacation or reduced your stress, it means your biological age is a living, breathing metric that you can influence every single day. This is where biology meets the soul. Dr. Picard's research shows that your mental state, specifically your sense of purpose, physically alters your cells.
energy to do something. And that's, I think, another manifestation of energy. As energy flows through this thing that we call biology, or the human body, it kind of moves us into action, right? And we know from first principles that the basis for human experiences, the mind and our ability to be inspired, to feel positive things or to feel negative things, depends on the flow of energy. Right? The difference between a thinking, feeling, conscious person having experience.
This is the ultimate pattern break. Having a reason to get out of bed isn't just a psychological trick. It is a command to your mitochondria to expand their capacity. Purpose is a form of fuel. If purpose builds energy, why do we feel so drained as we age? It's often not a lack of production, but a tax being levied on your system by internal stress.
Immunologists, your cell types, and there's at least 30 different types. So I think we're at this point in mitochondrial science where we need to adopt a similar level of specificity. There are different types of mitochondria. We call those mitotypes, and they emerge, all of them, from the same mitotype in the egg. Right, the egg that the mother carries and releases from the ovary. There's about 500,000 mitochondria in that egg. And then those mitochondria, there's a single type of mitochondria in there.
Think of inflammation like a background app on your phone that's draining the battery. You haven't lost your battery capacity, you're just wasting it on biological drama that keeps your system from focusing on growth and repair. To reclaim that energy, we need states of rest that go deeper than just sleep. We need to actively shut down the stress tax.
I think that perhaps a discussion about these little organelles we call mitochondria is not for them. Keep in mind, Martin's laboratory was the one that discovered that you can indeed reverse the graying of your hair. That graying of hair is not a prerequisite of aging. There's some other ways that hair grays. So we'll get to that later. Super interesting work. I have a million questions for you. Let's start off with the most important and most basic question, which is, what is this thing that we call energy?
Meditation isn't just about clearing your mind. It is a tactical reallocation of your energy budget. By silencing the noise, you give your cells the resources they need to heal. Finally, we must realize that while rest is vital, growth requires friction. Life itself is a process of pushing against the world.
An immune cell.
Right.
If you're a respecting immunologist, your cell types, and there's at least 30 different types. So I think we're at this point in mitochondrial science where we need to adopt a similar level of specificity. There are different types of mitochondria. We call those mitotypes, and they emerge, all of them, from the same mitotype in the egg. Right, the egg that the mother carries and releases from the ovary. There's about 500,000.
Every time you face a difficult workout or a hard problem, you aren't just suffering, you are creating the potential for change. Resistance is the spark that allows energy to transform into life. Dr. Picard's work shifts the way we look at ourselves. We are not just machines wearing out, we are energetic flows that can be optimized. First, remember that your energy is your potential to change. If you feel stuck, look at where your energy is being taxed by stress or inflammation. Second, treat your mitochondria like social organisms. They respond to your environment, your connections, and your purpose. Third, embrace the resistance. The friction you feel in your life is the very thing that allows your energy to transform into something new. What would change in your life if you stopped seeing yourself as a machine and started seeing yourself as a flow of energy? If this kind of breakdown helps you think differently, you'll probably enjoy the next video too.